Welcome to Daryl's Little Corner. We're glad you joined us tonight. In the studio with me is Virginia Jeter. I know you're familiar with her, and you're familiar from here now. Used to, I'd say, from the Jeter family, but she's all over the place now. We're going to be talking about Jesus' miracles, and we've done several, and we're just going to go down the list and discuss his miracles one by one.
Okay, let's see, we've gotten down to where Jesus heals the dumb man to speak. Mm-hmm. It's in Matthew chapter 9, starting with verse 32. It says, "And as they went out, behold, they brought to him a dumb man possessed with a devil. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spake. And the multitudes marveled, saying, It was never so seen in Israel." Now that is the miracle, but I think you need to hear the rest. I mean, that's the miracle we'll be discussing, but it goes on and says a little more. It says, "But the Pharisees said, He casteth out devils through the prince of the devils. And Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd. Then said he unto his disciples, The harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers unto his harvest."
All right, what stands out to me is, now he made the dumb to speak before.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing he can't do. But it says, they brought to him a dumb man. That's a man that couldn't talk.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they're not talking about literally sense smart.
Yeah. But he was possessed of the devil.
Mm-hmm. So technically, I mean, this man probably wasn't born dumb.
No, he couldn't speak because he was demon possessed.
Uh-huh. It wasn't a medical issue that kept him from speaking.
Mm-hmm. And I think that that's important, because that would be more difficult than somebody, I don't know, for Jesus. I don't guess nothing's difficult, is it?
Well, no, nothing's difficult for him, but for us...
that would be hard to deal with someone who was demon possessed and couldn't speak either. Mm-hmm. Now, some people can't speak because maybe they've got a medical issue or an emotional issue, like some children are autistic and don't speak. Mm-hmm. Some children just start talking later in life, and some don't. Mm-hmm. But some actually, you expect a child to start talking when they're just a little toddler. Mm-hmm. Some of them don't. Some of them don't. It don't mean that they won't never, but some of them don't. But Jesus, I think what he first did was cast the devil out, and then cause the man to be able to speak. Now I just think that.
Well, that's what it says. It says, "And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spake."
And if I've been around this person, now if he had demons, he didn't act nice. Mm-hmm. I mean, people with demons wouldn't be the friendliest, nicest folks. And then, and he couldn't talk on top of it, and you've been around him for years, and all of a sudden, it was all different. He was a nice guy, and he could talk. I mean, yeah, I'd marvel too. It says, and the multitudes marveled, saying it's never seen in Israel. It's never been seen before. Well, I'll tell you, it ain't never been seen before. Nothing like this has ever happened in Israel before.
But then it goes right on in the next verses, but the Pharisees decided they're going to discredit Jesus and say, he does that by the power of the devil.
Now, who were Pharisees?
They were the religious rulers of the times.
Yes, they were the church. Mm-hmm. At that time, they were actually the church. In other words, when this happened, the church said, "Oh, that ain't real. That's not of God.
Yeah,
that's not real." And that's what they told the people. Mm-hmm. And that's sad. It really is.
And we still have that to an extent today.
We do.
You testify of something God has done for you.
Nobody believes it.
They go out of their way trying to look for a reason that it couldn't have been God, it's something else.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like, people go out of their way to give the credit to something else. You get well, you had a great doctor. You have surgery and you heal. Well, you had a great surgeon. Yeah, I have good doctors and I've had good surgeons, and the only reason they're good is because God made them that way.
My friend came over to the beauty shop one day, and I was doing her hair, and she said, "Daryl, you got to really do good today. I got to look good." I said, "Oh, you're doing something special? Well, I'm going to the hospital and have surgery." Well, we talked a while. She told me she was going to have a hysterectomy, and it was a for sure thing. And so before she left, I just put my hands on her shoulder and I prayed for her. Well, the next Saturday she showed back up. And I said, "Hon, I thought you had surgery." I mean, I didn't call the hospital. I should have, but I didn't. I said, "I thought you had surgery. I wasn't looking for you today." She said, "Oh, Daryl, honey, I got over there, and they checked me one more time and said, they had them pictures mixed up." He said, "The files were mixed up, and I'm thinking about suing them." She did. They convinced her that it was the wrong papers and wasn't nothing wrong with her to start with. Mm-hmm. Now, that's like unto Steve Brock. His wife had a child, and then she had another child, and they said that child would be born, that if it lived, it would live just a few hours, but there was no way that child could live. Now, there was no, that sac that the baby's in, there was no fluid in it. Uh-huh. And I don't know what else, but it was, they had a lot of big words I don't know nothing about. But they assured her, in fact, she was so sure of it, they went by the funeral home and made arrangements for that baby on their way to the hospital.
Oh, my goodness. Mm-hmm.
And their pastor just would not accept it. Every time he walked past her, he'd pray. He if nothing else, he'd put his hand on her shoulder and say a few words, and he'd pray. He said, "No, that baby's going to be okay. Baby's going to be okay." She's a year old now, honey. Her name's Amelia Brock. She's beautiful, and she's a year old. And, well, they said then she had a kidney problem. Well, they started out, she had a heart problem, then she had a kidney problem. And now they say, "Oh, well, she might have trouble later with her kidneys." Later on, her kidneys might not do later in years from now. Hey, she's a healthy baby. And, and they come up with all this, well, this is going to happen later, and they just can't explain it.
Yeah. They just can't say, "Oh, I was wrong. There's nothing wrong with your baby. The Lord has healed your baby. You've got a perfectly fine, healthy baby."
Absolutely.
They can't say that. No, they got to say, "Well, I know I'm right, so it's going to just happen later than what we thought it was going to happen."
Well, these are the most wonderful people that just love God, and God just gave them that child. Mm-hmm. Even though people said it wasn't happening, God said it was.
Yeah.
And when God says something's happening, well, count on it.
It's going to happen whether you want it to or not.
That's right.
Well, there wasn't too long ago we had this very same thing happen right there in our church. Mm-hmm. Man in our church was having problems. He went to the doctor. They found a blockage in his heart.
Yes.
Set him up to do a heart cath and to put the stent in. even told him that where it was situated, that if they got in there and couldn't get the stent in, that they would have to convert and do open heart surgery right then. So he goes and he checks in, and of course, all of us is praying, and I'm sure he had other people praying, and we're all praying.
We anointed him with oil at the church.
Well, we anointed him with oil, and we pray. Well, he gets to the hospital and he checks in, and they start to do, before they do, and I found this out the hard way, before they do a stent, they do the ultrasound or the sonogram, whichever one they use. They do it as they're doing it so they can locate the exact spot of it and keep it on the monitor as the doctor is going into it. Well, they get him down there, get him all set up. They start that sonogram or ultrasound, whichever one they use. I don't remember which one they use. They start it. They get to looking for the blockage. Can't find it. They look some more. Can't find it. His wife said she sat there in that hospital room so long before they got back to her and let her know what was going on. She just knew they had to switch over and do open heart surgery. But she told me, she said, when they finally called me and told me that evidently it was a false positive because there was no blockage.
Yeah, sure. Well, I tell you what, one of my ladies in the shop, now she's gone now. She was in her, I'd say early 80s, and they found a blockage. And they wanted to do bypass. And she said, no, not doing it. So if that's the way the Lord's going to take me, then that's the way I'm going. And she's not doing it. And by the time that she was 90, her body had grown a bypass. She went to the doctor. Of course, I always did checkups. And why we do checkups when we ain't going to do nothing? We ain't going to let them do nothing. I'm bad at that, too. And he said they couldn't believe it. It just grew. It grew an artery there where she needed that bypass.
Exactly.
So she said, well.
But they don't know how it happened.
Well, now, she was in her 90s when she passed away, but she always told me when I did her hair, she'd just brag about it. She'd say, God just did my bypass.
Yeah.
He did it for me. And she was just full of faith. She really was. She was a sweet, sweet little Baptist lady. She was full of faith.
And that just, she had made up her mind, and she said, Lord, if this is how you want me to go, okay, this is how I'm going.
Now, I'm not sure about her ages, because I didn't ask her. I just go by what I thought she was. She was like in her 80s, and that probably happened when she was maybe in her 70s, pushing 80. But she was late in her 90s when she passed away. Time. With that God-given bypass. That's amazing. Wonderful.
And what is amazing is how many more people are walking around out there with their chest scarred from here to here.
That's right.
That God could have done the same thing for them. But
now, when they went to the pool of Bethsaida, and this guy was waiting on the angel to stir the water, and he was laying on that mat, and he whined. And I said, well, I can't, he whined. He said, I can't get to the water when it stirs. Somebody gets there before me. So that's not full of faith. That was wine. And she said, I'll have to look up where that's at and read it to you. And they healed him. Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have, I'll give to you. The disciples, they prayed for that one guy. Take up your bat and leave, take up your bed and walk. But they only healed that one. And they left. Why? I mean, now I tell you, the gift of healing, there's a gift. I mean, it's one of the spiritual gifts. But God He don't, if you had it all the time, you just go to the hospital and clean it out.
Mm-hmm.
I went with the side, I've sent them all home. But it ain't that way.
No, it's not that way. That's why when, you have there is the gift of healing is one of the spiritual gifts you can have. And praying for someone's healing, God wants us to do that. But the words that Jesus said just about every time he healed someone, he would tell them, thy faith has made you whole. Thy faith saved your daughter's life. So that person has got to have the faith to accept the healing that God wants to give them.
That's right.
You can stop your own healing by just not having faith in it. Just you and the lady you were speaking about, she had the faith that, Lord, if this is how you want me to go, okay. If not, you take care of it. And that's exactly what he done. That wasn't how he wanted her to go, so he took care of it.
That's right. Okay, it's in John 5. And we'll start first. Afterward, Jesus returned to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish holy holidays. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, a blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water.
Mm-hmm.
For an angel went down at certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then, first after the troubling of the water, stepped in and was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. So first one in, that's the one that got healed. And the rest of them too bad. Yeah, that's sad. And a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. Mm-hmm. 38 years he'd been coming up there laying, waiting, trying to get in there. When Jesus saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he saith unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? See, I thought it was Peter and Paul, it wasn't. The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man, when the water's troubled, to put me in the pool, but while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Well, Lord, I can't do this because I can't get down there. Mm-hmm. I'm not able. I know about that. Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked, and on the same day was the Sabbath. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he took up his bed and walked, but they walked out and left all them other folks laying there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes Jesus will come and he'll just heal one. There may be a long line of people prayed for and one gets healed. But it's real. And God, I hadn't found anywhere it says he quit doing it. People say he did, but I hadn't found it.
Yeah,
so if you're sick, I'll pray for you and I believe God for you and I expect a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Because he's still Jesus.
And what you have to understand is, just because, like, say, a stranger walks up to me and says, can you pray for me? I've got heart disease, or I've got cancer, or okay, yes, I can pray for you, and I will.
Me too.
Anytime you need me to, I will. Mm-hmm. But the point of it is, when I pray that God does his will in your life. And I love to see the miracles that happen instantaneously. The ones that he just takes the blockage out of the way and it ain't there no more. The ones that he just, you couldn't walk and you get up and you walk and those, everybody loves them and everybody marvels about them. But just because he don't do it like I think it needs to be done does not mean he don't do it.
Yeah. You're right.
I don't pray
And you think
to
I
him.
pray that way, don't you?
Uh-huh.
You think I pray that way, don't you? I
What,
don't.
you pray that way?
No.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. No, when I pray, I said, Lord, and I know you can do it, and I expect a miracle.
But you're not trying to tell him how to do it. You're just telling him.
I'm telling him what I want.
Well, that's what prayer is. You're telling God what you want.
I'm telling him what I want, but now it's up to him. I mean, I don't have. I pray for a lot of people, and if you say, well, she don't have time. I got time, because I'll let something else go. Call me, I'll pray for you. I'll give you my phone number. It's 662-223-4257. Call me, I'll pray for you anytime, because I believe in God. I believe in that God is still. He loves you, and he's still doing for his children. And I pray and I tell God, man, I expect a miracle. I do. But when it comes down to it, I don't have no power. I don't have no fairy dust that makes this stuff happen. I'm not a magician. I am one who asks. I ask him to do. I don't tell him what he's got to do, because he don't got to do nothing.
Yeah.
He done it all. He don't got to do nothing. I ask him. I know it came through this area at one time, a doctrine where people, they got the idea they could boss God around. You can't boss God around. No, he's the boss man. I do what he says.
Exactly.
I line my life up with his word, not his word with my life.
Well, see, that's the way a lot of people like to do it. They will take the Bible and they will try to manipulate the verses around to where, okay, my life seems pretty good if I look at them this way. I'm not that bad. But now if I actually look at them like what they really say, I need some work. Not him. I do.
That's what I like about Jerry's preaching. I'm going to say this on TV, and you're not going to tell him. But that's what I like. He gets at the start, and he stays on the same scriptures. He don't hip-hop around. When you can hip-hop around through the Bible, make it say anything. It says, let's see, Jesus wept. Judas went out and hanged himself. Go you do likewise. All you got to do is flip over a few pages.
Yeah.
So let's all go hang ourselves. You can take a piece here and a piece there and a piece there and make it say anything. You got to keep it in context. You read what comes before it. You read what comes after it. And that's what I like about it.
And a lot of times you can check yourself if it's something in the Gospels that you're studying, or reading over and you're trying to understand. You can check yourself because in those 4 Gospels, a lot of things are repeated.
That's right.
And a lot of people say they contradict each other, but if you read them, they really don't.
They don't.
They don't contradict each other. They back each other up.
When 2 people see a wreck and they go off and they tell it word for word.
Yeah.
That's the way the Gospels are. They're telling the same thing, but it's not word for word.
And if you read something and it sounds like, and you think it's, this is what it means, like I said, if it is in the Gospels, flip over to one of them other Gospels and read it there. And
that's right.
And I'm talking about the same thing.
Same happening.
Yeah, the same happening.
Same event.
See if they don't, see if you get the same meaning out of both of them. Because if you don't, then you're wrong.
Yeah. Understand, these are not Bible stories. These are Bible events. These are real people with real feelings. When you slap them, they hurt. They're real. This happened. You know, sometimes we read the Bible like it was and it's our fault because we buy these little books, these Bible stories for our children. And we think we're doing a good thing, and I guess you are. But we read them and we teach them that they're stories. There ain't a story in that book. Not a story. It's events. It's things that actually happened. Sometimes it's a vision. Now, a vision is a different thing. But when it says that happened, it happened. And if you read it and take, you know, we just read over it like it was a storybook, and then we closed up, so that's bad. Because we need to take time and think about, well, I wonder what Noah thought when God shut that door. Wonder how he felt to be shut up in that boat.
I remember one time I was reading through that, and all of a sudden it just hit me and said, "Ooh, I hope he wasn't claustrophobic."
That's right. With all of the animals. Yeah.
Yeah, just out of the blue. And I don't remember. I may have been reading it to one of the kids or something. I don't remember, but I can remember reading. I was reading over Noah and how God shut the door, and what God shut, no man could open, and all that. And when about the time I said that, when God shut, no man can open. It just popped in my head. Oh, I hope he wasn't claustrophobic.
Right. Well, I mean, that's my thought. You know, we never think about what did Noah feel? How did he feel about being in there with every kind of animal?
Can you imagine the smell?
Can I imagine being hooked in there with a couple of tigers and lions? No. No.
I really had never thought about that, because if he shut him up for Daniel, he could shut him up for Noah. So I hadn't thought about it that way. Can you imagine 40 days and 40 nights?
I cannot.
I remember one time.
And there'd never been rain. Wonder how he felt when we started hearing rain fall. I mean, he couldn't see it because he was.
Well, he could get up there that little window he made and see it probably. I don't know that he did, but
I don't know. Well, that was some air. That'd be a good thing.
Yeah, at least he had it. Get some fresh air.
Had air vent. I bet he did.
If it'd been me, all 40 days, I'd been standing right in that building.
Yeah, that's the one he let the dove. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there'd never been any rain before.
And that's what you need to do. When you're reading the Bible, stop thinking about them as stories. Start thinking about them as actual human beings.
That's right.
Because, I mean,
they were.
You know, and there's no way I'll ever know whether or not Noah was claustrophobic unless I think to ask him when I get to heaven.
Yeah.
But, you know, stuff like that, if you think of them as an actual person, you get more context from it. You get more understanding of it. Because, I mean, Noah told his 3 sons, God told me this and you in to own it. He didn't give them a choice. He said, God told me to do this, and he said y'all were going to be in it with me, so you're going to help build it.
Absolutely.
I mean, so, you know, think about what them boys think. Daddy done gone crazy, you know.
Yeah.
You know they did.
And it's going to rain. Well, what is rain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, we get to thinking of the prophets of old and all those people in the Older Testament, and even Jesus and the disciples and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the good and the bad. They were humans.
Yes,
they were truly actual humans that lived and breathed just like you're living and breathing and walking your life today. It's a lot different today than it was then, I grant you. I understand that. But they were human beings. They had all of the doubts and insecurities, all of the hope and the faith. I mean, they just like us. And I guess because, that popped in my head because, I think if I was shut up like that, I would be claustrophobic. So I thought, I wonder if Noah was. Stuff like, you've got to make it apply to you.
That's right.
Make it apply to your feelings. Realize that these people have the same feelings and emotions and highs and lows that we have.
That's right. It's not a story.
Jesus was the Son of God. Mm-hmm. I do not doubt that one bit, one iota. But he was also Mary's baby.
That's right.
That was Mary's baby boy.
Can you imagine how she felt?
I can't imagine how she felt, and don't want to know how that woman felt. But he had these same feelings we have. When he was walking here in human form, Jesus felt sadness. Jesus felt happy. He had good buddies he went fishing with. He had, he was a man that God was his father, but yet he was still human too.
Yeah.
And so, and the Bible tells us we hadn't been tempted or tried with anything that he didn't go through.
No, we hadn't.
If we felt it, if we went through it, if we've been tried by it or tempted by it or tested by it, so was Jesus. And the Bible plainly tells us there ain't nothing that we go through that he hadn't already went through and overcame. Mm-hmm. Now, me, I can't say that. I went through a lot of stuff I didn't overcome.
Yeah.
I muddled my way through it and just got through the best way I could. But Jesus overcome it all. Mm-hmm. He overcame it all. And then when I got Jesus, he helps me overcome it all. And that's, for the Pharisees to actually say he was doing those miracles by the prince of the devil. I mean, these, like I said, think of them as humans. They had to come up with an excuse that he was actually better than they were.
But look what Jesus and the disciples went through and how they were beaten and run out of town and, but yet they weren't discouraged. And every time something happens in your life, somebody dies or something, maybe a house burn or something tragic happens, mm-hmm. What's the first thing we do? Well, God, you just didn't take care of me. I'm not going back to church. How's that make sense?
I've always said that people amaze me because when something bad happens in their life or they're having some kind of trouble, church is the first thing they give up. When church should be the last thing you give up.
That's when you need it to
be. Why are you going to walk away from the only help you can get?
They do. They just walk away like Jesus was on vacation or something. Mm-hmm. Now, I've had a lot of tragedies in my life, and you have too. Anybody gets our age has.
Yeah, they've had tragedies.
You're not going to live in this world and nothing bad ever happened, as it says. It rains on the just as well as the unjust. Mm-hmm. Bible says so. But that don't mean that Jesus don't love you. Mm-hmm. And you can either be pulled through something or you can let it destroy you. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens. And sometimes Jesus pulls you through and he goes through it with you. But sometimes people won't let him, and they think they can do it by themselves, and it'll destroy them.
Mm-hmm. And it's not that, I mean, I can tell you right now that it's not that we don't struggle with this. Knowing right and doing right's two totally different things.
You're right.
Okay, I can take an example of something I just went through. My son broke his hand, or broke two of his fingers.
Yes, it is.
Broke two of his fingers, and he had no insurance.
And being a good mother, you did not break the other two.
Being a good mother, I did not break the
You
noggin.
thought about it, didn't you?
But you know, and here I am, struggling and trying to figure out any way whatsoever I can get this child's hand operated on, because the way this system is set up is totally against kids.
It's against people that are honest.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, I could have lied and got it done really good, but I mean, I ain't worth going to hell for.
No.
So here I am, and I'll be the first one to admit, you know, I'm praying, Lord, you know, this is what I've got to do. I need you to do it. I need your help. I need you to show me what to do. Well, I should have just shut up, and instead of worrying about him showing me what to do, just say, okay, Lord, here it is, take care of it. Mm-hmm. But no, me,
we don't.
Me, I'm sitting here saying, Lord, tell me what to do. I need to do something. Give me something to do. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there ain't nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You've just got to sit back and let him do his will. I know you and probably everybody else probably gets tired of me saying, when you pray, you've got to pray that his will is done. Not like I want it, not like you want it, not like the world wants it. I want his will done. And that sunk into me. I was studying the Passion Week at one time. Mm-hmm. I went from the time he entered Jerusalem on the donkey. I was studying all the way through. I was fixed on that all the way through that last week of Jesus' life. And during that study and that period of time I was reading through that, it hit me that if Jesus is going to go to the Garden of Gethsemane and pray to the Father, not my will, but thy will be done. Who am I?
He first asked him to do it his way.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, he said, well, he didn't really ask him to do it his way.
He did.
He asked him, he says, Father, if there's any other way to do it, can you do it that way?
Lord, will you do it my way, the other way, and if that ain't going to work out, then we'll do it your way. That's why I pray. Sometimes.
But when I was doing that study, that hit me. I mean, even Jesus says, God, not my way, but your way.
Yes.
So who am I?
If he relents and lets us have our way, it's never good. Why we do that? Because it's never good, because he knows what's ahead and we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that the Lord has let me have my way, it didn't work out good. Sometimes he does, but it's not a good thing.
Oh, I don't know it.
And I should learn from that, but you know.
I mean, I can't remember a time I prayed and told God how I wanted something done, and it was done just like I told him I wanted it done. I can't remember that time.
I have.
But I can't remember a time I've done that. But if I ever did do it, it would scare me so much I'd be waiting for the next shoe to drop.
It does. It does. Yeah, I have, and it does. Yes. Yes, you're better off with God's will, I promise you. Mm-mm. But if you, I mean, even like, even in Sodom and Gomorrah, you know, he said if there be 10, if I started out, I think, with 100, and it kept coming down, and God relented, and you know, sometimes God will relent, and he'll say, all right, do it your way, yeah,
But-
dumb.
But you
Don't
know,
do it.
but you know, Abraham, you talking about that? Abraham asked God, said, God, if I can find 100 just men,
Righteous men.
will you
yes.
spare it?
Yes.
God said, yeah, I'll spare it. God knew there wasn't 100 there. He didn't relent. He knew there wasn't 100 there. He got down, like you said, to 10.
Mm-hmm.
God said, yeah. He knew there wasn't that many there. Like Allison says, why you gonna lie to God?
Yeah,
He
that's
already
the
knows the truth.
That's the truth. That's one thing you don't do is lie to God. What's the point? Oh,
But you know, you can look. I mean, to me that's got a whole different meaning to it. But I think that was God trying to show us that the church is going to be out of here before everything breaks loose here on earth. But that's a whole nother discussion. But God's going to have His will done.
yeah.
He's going to have His will done. We can either accept it, or we can fight it and let it make us bitter. I had a whole lot rather accept it than for it to make me bitter. Because it wasn't God's will that David's hand got fixed without me having to come up with a boatload of money. I had to do it. So I did it. And, you know, it's not... I don't blame God because that wasn't the way it was supposed. You know, it didn't go my way. Evidently, you know, it wasn't supposed to be done the way I wanted it done, or that's the way God would have done it. It would have shocked me, but you know, He shocked me before.
Well, sometimes when you pray, God will give you what you ask for. You have to be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's not, if it's not, sometimes not a good thing.
Well,
But
you know.
not always, but sometimes God will just, if you know, He'll just, okay, that's what you want. And it's not always a good thing.
No, it's not. And you know, the Bible tells us, ask and it'll be given, seek and you'll find, knock and the door will be open.
But I'm telling you, be careful what you ask for. You might get it.
But as long as it's in God's will, I'll take it over my will any day.
I don't usually ask for, sometimes I'm a renegade child. I don't always behave well. Sometimes I just plead and beg, and sometimes God will, he'll say, all right, and then.
That's why.
But there's a price to pay if you don't. It's like saying, all right, I'm going to go do this thing for you, Lord. I'm get out here. I'm doing this thing for you. Lord, I may start gathering my stuff up because I'm going to go do that because I know that's what needs to be done for God, and that's what I'm going to do. Instead of saying, Lord, what would you have me to do? That's what we need to do. I mean, I'm saying I'm human and I do dumb stuff sometimes. But the wise thing to do is to say, Lord, what would you have me to do? Do you want me to go over there and do this thing? Or do you not? Because when we get off in ourselves, instead of following God's will, we always get in trouble.
That's the reason I think it's very important that you check yourself daily.
It is.
It's what I'm doing so people
We
will
gotta
see
walk in
me.
His Spirit. We gotta walk in His Spirit. You gotta stay in touch with God every day. If you don't, you'll fall on your face.
I mean, you check yourself daily with anything you're doing. You know, am I doing this for the right reasons? I'll ask Him. I said, Lord, am I doing this for the right reasons, or am I just doing this because I want to do this?
Well, see, because we're human, and that's what I was trying to get across. As I'm human, and sometimes I'll just jump out there, and I'm gonna do that for you, Lord. Yeah, I'm doing this for God. But if God didn't tell you to do it, well, junk that. And when I pray, sometimes, people will say, well, pray for me, and I'll lay hands on them in a minute. And, sometimes, maybe what they're praying for is not of God. Well then, I'm going to look like an idiot, and they're not going to get what God didn't want them to have.
And that's why I always say, and I'll tell anybody I ever pray for, I'll pray for you till the cows come home. But I'm going to pray that His will is done and not mine.
I don't always. Sometimes I get real excited and I just jump out there. I am the problem child. Y'all don't be the problem child. I am definitely the problem child.
I mean, I just can't, because there's times that you prayed for somebody. There's been times that I've prayed for somebody, and it didn't seem like anything at all happened.
Yep.
Well, there's got to be a reason for that, and that reason is I was praying against God's will. Whatever I was asking for wasn't how He was wanting it done. It's the reason it didn't get done the way I wanted it to.
Yeah. He's got control of everything.
Yeah,
it don't matter.
He is in control. I mean, I can pray for you, but all I can guarantee of my prayers and anybody's prayers is that I want God's will done in your life. And if His will lines up with what you want, that's great. That's the happy times.
I don't get everything that I pray for. I don't have fairy dust that you sprinkle on people.
Well, do you know anybody that does? Because I need you to introduce me to them.
I know some that say they do. But no, I don't. But I don't have any fairy dust. Not every time that I pray for somebody, but now I see people get well. I see people that receive miracles. But if everybody got one, it wouldn't be a miracle. It'd be everyday stuff. I mean, that's something to think about. Because, I mean, if it was up to me, I'd go up to the hospital. I'd clean the place out. I'd send them home. I'd pray for everybody. I'd just send them home. But that's not how God.
That's not how God works. I mean, there's
His will. You're right about that. It's His will, not mine. Of course, now that don't mean I won't jump up and go pray for him.
But I mean that, Jesus told us pray one for another.
I mean, sometimes I just do sometimes I pray about it and I'll say, Lord, do you want me to do this? And sometimes I just say, Lord, let's go do that. But now, sometimes it don't work out.
And a lot of times I think, now this may be off the wall, but a lot of times I think God looks down and says, you want me to do what?
Now, I think He looks and He says, look at those children. I remember when my kids would get to acting up, I think, oh, children. I think He does that. I think He goes, kids, what's the matter with y'all?
He wants to be, you think I've been looking at us like we look at our kids.
I do.
I know you know better.
Yeah. What were you thinking?
I don't know how many times I have said those exact words to my kids.
Oh, me too.
I know you know better. And you know, God's sitting up there telling us the same thing. You know, you come in with something that is completely against what He wants. I can remember one time I had somebody tell me that they had a friend that was praying for this other woman's husband. She wanted them to get a divorce, and she wanted that other woman's husband. And I looked at her and I said, I know you know better.
I can't pray like that.
I know you know better. There's nobody that can misinterpret Scripture that bad.
So, Lord, I want you to help me sin.
You know, anybody that even has a remote acquaintance with the Scripture is not going to read that Scripture that ask and you shall receive, and believe that you can ask for what ain't yours and God's going to give it to you.
But you'd be surprised, because I've had people say things to me that didn't line up, you know. Of course, I just don't share it. I just say, I'm sorry, I can't pray like that. If I can't, I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, if I tell you something, that's what it's gonna be.
Somebody come to me and ask me to pray for something like that. I'm going to pray all right. But it's going to be, Lord, you need to straighten this mess out. Them people are all messed up. I said, Lord, send somebody that knows what to say to them that will draw them back to you, because I don't know what to say to them.
Because this ain't it. This ain't it. Like, this ain't something lining up with the Word here. Whatever you pray, it has to line up with the Word.
It does. I mean,
if it don't line up with the Word, I mean, you're wasting your breath. It ain't gonna happen. It just ain't gonna happen. I've done that too. Dumb stuff. I've been around a lot of years. I've done a lot of stuff. I've done, back in the early days, I did some real dumb stuff.
I am sure I have too. I mean,
and these older ladies tried to help me, and you know, I was just so dumb.
I am sure that God has sat up there and shook His head
Me too.
When I prayed and said, have I not taught you no better than this?
But I know that now they say that God don't do miracles, and He don't do this, He don't do that. Well, they don't limit God.
They don't know the same God I do.
What it is, when God does a miracle, we say, oh, they switched the papers, or we figure out some excuse that He didn't.
You got a false positive. You know, it's, you know, accept it for what it is.
Yeah. It's some excuse.
A lot of times I get scared for people like that, because I'm thinking, if you don't give God the glory, He might take it away.
You're right.
So don't. I mean, I believe in doctors. I believe going to doctors. Too. I believe that they are a necessity, especially for us older folks. I mean, I have no problems with doctors, and I'll give them credit that the good Lord give them enough knowledge and enough sense to be able to do what they do. But God's going to be in it somewhere or another. Right. He either give them the talent to do it, or, I mean, it would be like me walking into an operating room and start trying to do heart surgery on somebody. If God don't make me a heart surgeon,
me either.
that person's fixing to die.
Yep.
Just like all of these other doctors out here, if God hadn't give them the knowledge, give them the understanding, give them the ability to do what they do, then they could not do it. I take nothing away from them. I understand, but all I know is I know where their ability comes from, and it's from God. And they may not see it that way. They may, they say doctors have God complexes. They think they're God. I hadn't ran into any doctors that were that bad.
My doctor don't.
No. I hadn't ran into any that's
she
that
believes
bad
in
either.
medicine. She believes in, what she was trained to do, but she believes in God.
Yeah,
My doctor
and I
is Christian.
guarantee you that she knows God give her that ability.
She's good. She's a good Christian. The lady that did surgery on my eyes when I had cataracts, why didn't God clear them up? I don't know. I went through a surgery, and she prayed with me before she did surgery. She didn't ask me, and I want her to pray for me. She just came out there, put her hand on my arm, and prayed for me. I was very impressed.
That sounds like a doctor everybody needs to go
That
to.
was my kind of stuff, I'm telling you.
But that's, everything comes from God.
It does.
Everything.
It does. It does.
I mean, I was praying the other night about something that you would ask me to pray for, and I was praying about it, and I said, God, you made the biggest thing in this universe. You made the smallest atom that we can't even see with the naked eye. We got to have a microscope to make it. I said, so I know this is no problem for you. Whatever the problem is, I know you can do it.
That's right. You sure can.
So I want your will to be done. And this was one time I added, but Lord, I hope your will is that you'll fix it.
Yeah, I hope you do it my way, Lord.
Well, I don't care if he does it my way or not, just so it gets done. Just do it.
Oh, man.
But that's what you have to understand. You have to understand it. You can't boss God around. You can't tell him, God, I want it done this way. Because, like you said before, we can't see down the road. We can't see what's coming down the road.
We don't. We don't. We think we do, but we
Our
don't.
most troubling trial or temptation, the worst thing that we've ever gone through, may be the very thing God needs us to witness to somebody to draw them closer to Him. And how could we do it if He hadn't let us go through it?
That's right.
How could I tell somebody that, hey, Jesus can heal you if He hadn't healed me? How could I, with 100% certainty, go up to you if something was wrong with you and say, Daryl, I know God can do this, if I hadn't had Him do it for me?
Right.
So we have to look at our trials and our tribulations and the things that we go through, not as when God's punishing us, it's God getting us ready to use us for something. I mean, He's going to use us.
Every trial turns into a testimony. It does.
And that is, and you're not real big on Revelation, but that's what it says in Revelation.
I sure do read a lot.
Well, I know you. I said not big on it, but I mean, what I'm saying is, I know you don't study it a lot, but
I don't like to. I'm not saying I know, and I don't like to.
But it tells us in there, how do we overcome? By the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
That's how we overcome.
And it tells
With
us
Jesus and testifying of what He's done for us.
That's right. It tells us how wonderful heaven is. But Tommy tells us we're out of time.
Oh, okay.
But when we're plumb out of time. Be sure and catch the Jeter Family Program on Saturday nights, 7 to 9. We'll be back with you Monday at 7 o'clock for Daryl's Little Corner. May God bless.